Hey guys, this is gonna be a guide about how to play Truth a posteriori. When you first start off, your highest priority is to level up both the crystal pavilion here for your artifacts and the scavenger tent here to increase your evacuation sanity limit. More onto what all of this means a little bit later. First, you're gonna click on the operations room. Here you can see how you want to go about a run. Super prepared, fully prepared, and so on and so forth. The first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna grind a little bit on unprepared. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this in the most efficient way right now. Don't worry about the expedition time here, morning, afternoon, night. I will explain later what that exactly means. When you first start off, you don't have to worry about this at all. Same for the enemy's afflatus weakness. I will touch up upon that later when we go for a quote-unquote real run. Here for this unprepared one, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worship effects. You don't have to go to the old goodies shop. You're just gonna move. And you can see here on the map some jars and some masks will be here. You want to hit these tiles because they give you items for free. These items will be sold once you retreat from the run, and this will accumulate the resource that you need in order for you to upgrade these two buildings that I showed you in the beginning. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move to this tile right here. Yeah, here you can see sometimes when you move onto a random tile, you will be hit by some event. You can right here, right, seize the opportunity would lead me into a battle. I want to stay out of any trouble. I don't want to fight. I don't want to do anything other than grab some free items to accumulate resources. You can see here on the bottom side of your field, this one right here, you're not gonna worry. This will lead you into events where you have to pay a specific item. We're not gonna worry about those fields at all. We're gonna worry about the ones with the jars and with the masks, right? We also don't care about these debuffs that we pick up along the way. Here you see this jar on the left hand side to me. That's what we're gonna care about. That's here we wanna pick up this jar, and you will see that for free we gain 3 items. Those are very bad items, and those are not the items that we are actually looking for. We don't want to participate in a battle. We don't care about the debuff that we pick up here. Another jar, right? We want to move to the tile in which we can pick up this jar. Here, boom. And that is simply what we're gonna do, right? Here you can see a little bit of a better item because this gives me 900 resource instead of the 300 that a simple potion would give me. And once we have obtained like 2-3 of those items, we can happily just end the run on unprepared, go home and have accumulated some resources in order for us to either upgrade our buildings or buy some artifacts, yada yada. I will show you exactly what the most important move would be to spend your resources other than upgrading these two buildings. And you can see here, like one more time, thick fog, that would be an event. I don't want to worry about these events at all because it could happen that they lead me into a battle, and I want to avoid battles at all costs. Why is that actually? Because battles are not worth your time. They take way too long to finish, and they don't give you the value of reward that you would want to accumulate for the time spent. So you see, this is the tile right here in which I can end my run. This is what I'm aiming for. So I check the map again. Is there something here actually nearby that I would want to pick up? Yes or no, right? Scout a little bit. No, there is nothing left. Everything would take me too long. So I just swift retreat and I go home. Here, retreat, auto select the items. The auto selection here works perfectly fine. It actually chooses the best possible items for you every single time. And you can see here that my resource will now increase by 3150. And this process is what you're gonna repeat a couple of times. You can see my total amount of resources did just grow, and that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go operations, the operation side, you're gonna go run on unprepared exactly the way that I just explained to you. And you're gonna spend those resources, of course, to first of all upgrade your buildings. That's the very most important part. I will give you a little bit of a warning, because at the Crystal Pavilion, after pretty much every single run that you do in the beginning, there will be a red dot. When you click on this red dot, it will lead you to this screen here. And here you have a button, if possible, right? I have played through this mode completely, I have unlocked everything. But here will be a button called Quick Select. You want to avoid this button completely. You never want to use Quick Select unless like very at the very later stages. When you see here on objectives, you have quests. I have beaten every single quest, as you can see here. Completed. There's only one side quest here left for me to do, and I will do that very soon. But again, there is a red dot at Crystal Pavilion pretty much all the time. Here will be a button, Quick Select. Don't use that button. It will deduct your resources, and you would be rather spending your resources on actually upgrading these two buildings here. You will hit a point where, yeah, you cannot upgrade your buildings anymore. You pretty much have nothing to do. Then you're gonna go grind unprepared more until you can hit like another run. It depends on how much you want to grind unprepared and with how much grind you would be fine with. The most effective way would of course be to grind unprepared until you can do a run of, or in the difficulty, super prepared. This could get a little bit annoying. You might be burned out before you reach that point actually. So what you can do also is, you can, let's say, for example's sake, we want to do a run just to see how things go on lightly prepared here. Then we can see this would cost us 5,000 of our resource that we have accumulated. We never want to go into a run broke, right? So if you would only have a 5k or around 5k, close to 5k, you do not want to go for this run, but you want to go for a few more runs of unprepared, so that you, if you want to do this run here for 5,000 resources, you actually have like 7, 8 or maybe even 9k resources. Let's actually go and see why I'm saying that. That is because you will have to purchase things here. First of all, if you have already unlocked the artifacts, some artifacts, you're gonna choose those artifacts here and you wanna worship them. This alone will cost you 1,000 additional resources. See, you would already need a total of 6k resources. But the run only costs 5k, right? Don't get baited by that. And even more important, you want to go to this old goodies shop right here and you want to purchase the most expensive pack of them all. See, I don't have enough resources accumulated. This one would cost me 8,240 to buy. I don't have that, right? And this is a little bit inefficient, especially later on when you go for the most difficult difficulties, right? That you will unlock a hard mode once you reach your base level 5 and everything. So make sure you go into a run very rich, so you can buy the most expensive packs and more. So I can't do that right now. I will then opt now into a little bit of a cheaper pack. And you can see here, there is another shop. Not only this window, but another window. And every single one of those windows is extremely important. Later, on the highest difficulty that you can approach, you will always need these cards here. Like for example, at the beginning of the run, as you saw, the run will tell you which afflatuses your opponents will be weak to. It was like, let's say, Plant and Beast. In that case, I want to play a team in this run from the Beast or Plant afflatus. aka plant prompto, for example, maybe even dynamo if you have brome, that kind of stuff. And now that we know that what team we play, right? You decide. Do you want a dynamo? Do you want to play dynamo with brome, or do you want to play plant prompto? Let's say, hey, we're gonna play plant prompto. Then we always want to purchase these cards right here. Plant, stronger counter, whatever, right? We're gonna buy both of them. There's a limit of 2 that you can buy. You're gonna buy those. Plus the natural stronger counter 5. We also gonna buy every single one of those cards that we can. Sold out. Now we have covered our plant inflators. Later, in the highest difficulties possible, the enemies will be way too strong. Because what those cards here do, as you can see, is you deal more damage if the opponent is weak to plant, plus your opponents also deal less damage to you if you are from the plant inflators. And since you play a team from the plant inflators, those cards are key. Otherwise, you cannot win the battles later on the hardest difficulties. Here is another very important part. Here, what you want to focus on are the resonance catalysts. These leaves here. Golden leaf 1, golden leaf 2, withered leaf. You want to buy as many of those as you possibly can. First, yeah, you can go for the cheap ones, withered leaf here. Later on, when you approach the first time the hard mode, you want to go for the golden leaf, and if on the hardest difficulty, you will always want the golden leaf number 2. That is because those leaves give you a higher percentage of chance by adding more dice to the most important part of the entire run. So don't underestimate the importance of those leaves and cash in big time here. That is very important. I would recommend to you to have like 5 to 8 of those leaves always at your disposal if you want to go for a high value run. And then you're gonna move, right? We have enhanced our artifacts. We have chosen the best artifacts. I will tell you in just a second what the best artifacts are. You now know which items to buy and how to choose your team. And then you're gonna go ahead. You're gonna always hit the tiles that give you the items, right? Now, what the difference is, and yeah, here always, like when you hit a tile, you need to use an item, you will always every single time use that item, no question about it. Otherwise you would be hit with debuffs, and you don't want to be hit or inflicted with debuffs. Very important. So now in this run here, other than like any run other than the first run on unprepared, you aim for the treasure chest tiles. I can't see one on my map yet, but those are the most important tiles. The second most important tile is right here on your screen. It is this altar. Let me do the fight here real quick. But you can see, right? Let me tell you about this right now. You can see the recommended archetypes here, the recommended afflatus, I should say, is beast or plant. You want to now switch your team to a team that hits these afflatuses. In case you cannot hit the mineral afflatus for very effective damage, you can add Mrs. Stranger here as an assist. But yeah, let me switch my team right now to Plant Prompto is what I would play here, because I want to hit the plant afflatus for very effective damage. So let me adjust my team and then show you about the cards that I was talking about earlier. Okay, we play one of the recommended afflatuses. Now you can see on the right hand side of your screen here, you can add a card, you can add an effect to this whole battle here, and that is very important, especially later on in hard mode. This becomes key. You cannot go without these cards on later difficulties, keep that in mind. So we want to hit the plant afflatus for very effective damage, so we're gonna use one of those cards. If you run out of those two, you use the natural stronger counter 5 here. That is a total of 4 battles you can face. For right now, on lower difficulties, when you first start out, that will be no problem. You will get perfectly along without these cards here. But on the hardest difficulties, you won't. So always keep a good eye on those. And then those fights, they will prove to be no issue right here. So let me skip past this run and then talk about everything a little bit further. After the fights, you will gain a bunch of items, right? And that's what we are aiming for. But fights are, one more time, not really too time efficient. So keep that in mind. Here, sometimes to reach an altar, I will now have to engage in another fight. So let me do that one as well real quick. So now we have finally unlocked the altar. Usually early on you don't have to fight that much. That was a little bit of RNG heavy. And you're always gonna pray at these trees, at these altars here. And here you can see on top of your screen, we have this what I call treasure chest tile. That is the most important part of the entire run. That is what we are aiming for. There we go. Let's go and step onto this treasure chest. Here you have an event. It's always Echoes of Desire. You're gonna click on that. You're gonna bust out one leaf. Now withered leaf adds a few dice. Golden leaf adds more dice than withered leaf. Golden leaf 2 adds even more dice, increasing your chance to actually succeed here. You can see success and critical success. The better you succeed, the more and better or higher rarity items you're gonna obtain after that. See, boom. Those are the screens here that we are aiming for. We're always gonna look for those treasure chest tiles to unlock this screen. Remember, we need those leaves and you have to buy them at the beginning of your run from the shops. Here, this is a tile in which I could evacuate and quit the run. I showed you this earlier as well. And here we go. There is another treasure chest tile. And those treasure chest tiles, those are the ones that you aim for. Every single one you wanna step onto and waste a leaf or put in a leaf. You can also go for those jars here or for the aforementioned and shown mask tiles. Whenever you see some items on the map, you're gonna go for. The highest priorities are the treasure chest maps and the altars, where you suck a tree. It's true. You're gonna suck a tree zap. So remember those tiles and remember the priorities here. Now you have something I would call this stamina. They call this patience here. You see 805. Walking and stepping onto tiles cost you a little bit. You can see here I have 805 patience and moving to this tile would cost me 15. Now I have a whole lot of patience, of course, because I've beaten the entire mode already. You will not have so much. It will very rarely occur to you that you actually would run out of this patience, but sometimes it can occur because you will have to run back and forth on the map to reach these treasure chest tiles. Then you have to watch out that you don't walk too much after your patience has hit 0, because you will be hit with very detrimental debuffs. If you want to prevent that, right, walking too much with 0 patience, make sure that you, before your patience runs out, to be near one of those tiles right here where you can exit, where you can swift retreat. Okay. And that's pretty much gonna be about it when it comes to the run itself. Aim for altar nodes, aim for treasure chest nodes. Try to avoid fighting as much as you possibly can. Keep a little bit of an eye onto your patience. And that's gonna be about that. Your artifact collection is here in the Crystal Pavilion. Now, which artifacts are the best? You can take a maximum of 3 artifacts with you. The best artifacts in the game are those ones right here. Those ones exist for every single archetype in the game. Oh yeah, not for every single one, but you get the point. Now, depending on what afflatus is recommended to you at the beginning of the of the battle. Let's go with Dynamo as an example, and let's pretend we go on a run in which the Intellect Afflatus is recommended to us. Then we're gonna use this one right here, the Red Clay Tablet. That increases Intellect characters, stronger Afflatus damage multiplier, Incantation Might, Ultimate Might. It lasts for 3 rounds. It doesn't last for 3 rounds, but the effect is multiplied by 3 for the first 3 rounds, and it does accomplish or establish a pulsing field on level 3 every single turn. Those artifacts are the best in the game, and like these kind of artifacts, they exist for every single archetype. This one right here, the Bronze Tuning Fork, would be the one if you want to play Conduit, right? And so on and so forth. Here's the one for Fua, the Stone Demon statue. And those kind of artifacts are one of the artifacts that you take with you on your run. Now, there's a different kind of artifact here. Those ones. This one here increases attack and HP by 30% for all mineral characters. Attack and HP increased by 30%. This exists for every single archetype in the game. Let me show you another one here. This is the one for star characters. This exists for intellect, for spirit, for everything that you can imagine. This is the second kind of artifact that you take, depending on what team you play and what Afflatus is like determined, right? For example, here intellect, it would be the copied tablet. You get it. So those are the 2 artifacts that you have to take. Now for the third slot, I would highly recommend you use the Ruby Heart, because it increases your, not only does it increase your max patience by 180, that is a lot. There are other artifacts that would increase your max patience by 200, but the Ruby Heart is better than those, as every single time you defeat an enemy, and you just saw how many enemies you actually have to defeat in a run and how common those enemies and those fights are. Every time you defeat an enemy and or you use a scout action card, your patience increases by 30. AKA, with the Ruby Heart, you are 100% guaranteed for your patience to never run out, and you can explore the entire map. So again, the artifacts that you take, let's say we play Dynamo, we take the Red Clay Tablet, as this is the artifact for our archetype. We take the copied tablet, because this increases the characters, the intellect Afflatus characters in fact, and every single character in the Dynamo archetype is from the intellect Afflatus. So we're gonna get stronger by our archetype, and here we get a stat increase thanks to our Afflatus. And then, since we want to explore the entire map, and we want to make sure we hit as many of those treasure tiles that we possibly can, we need a little bit more patience, or we want a little bit more patience to ensure we never run out and we are able to explore the entire map. That's why we use the Ruby Heart. Every one of those artifacts has an Afflatus attached to them. You can see here, for example, with the Red Clay Tablet, it is from the Intellect Afflatus, or the Bronze Tuning Fork would be from the Mineral Afflatus. And that is how you determine on which day of time you wanna go on your run. Here, select expedition time. You can see if you choose morning, then you will have a higher amount of chance for specific events to trigger, in which you can obtain star and mineral type artifacts specifically. Same for night, gives you spirit and intellect, afternoon gives you plant and beast. That is quite important, because you shall choose one artifact that you want to hunt. For example, you will have to play Dynamo quite a bunch here, so what you really want is the Red Clay Tablet. Now you're gonna choose the expedition time according to whatever would give you the highest amount of chance of obtaining artifacts from the Intellect Afflatus. There we go. That's how you figure out which day of time, which time you want to choose for your run, by checking, hey, what artifact do I actually need? I already explained to you which artifacts you want. So look which one you need and then go on your run at a specific time to have the highest amount of chance of actually obtaining the artifact that you are looking for. And there we have it. That's my guide when it comes to how to play a Truth Posteriori, or however this event is called here, a Truth Posteriori. It's super hard to pronounce for me. So let me repeat. First of all, when you're gonna start off, you grind runs on unprepared in the way that I showed you. You, best case scenario, grind this out until you can hit a run on super prepared. Remember that you have to pay 12k of the resource that you have to accumulate by grinding on unprepared. You want more than this 12k, you want 18k, 20k, something like that, so that you are truly very well prepared with all of the items and the leaves and whatnot to make your run really sufficient. Then later on, once your base hits level 5, you will unlock the hard mode. And here again, you're gonna grind on unprepared until you have enough resources to do an insanely prepared run. And here you're gonna go all in with like 25k, 30, 40k resources, and you're gonna empty the whole shop. You buy everything that I showed you, you upgrade your artifacts, you choose the correct artifacts that I showed you, and then you're gonna explore the entire map, beat the whole map, and your run's gonna be very fruitful, and you will empty out this shop here and level everything out to max level in no time. Remember, your highest priority at the beginning is to level up your scavenger's tent here and the crystal pavilion. You have objectives here, those are quests. They give you also artifacts and the resource that you need to accumulate in order for you to purchase your items for the run. And that's gonna be about it, guys. I hope that video was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.